Hello and welcome to HyperDog Digital. This is Scott. The wonderful people at Lenovo have sent over this SmartTab P10 with Amazon Alexa. Basically, this is a tablet that comes with a dock that sort of makes this a Alexa smart home screen. This was just recently talked about in the most recent CES, so this is fairly new. We can take a look at some of the specs on this before we really dig into it. This is the Aurora Black version. It comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 450, 10-inch 1920 by 1200 IPS display. It's got 4 gig of DDR3 memory. This one has the 64 gig storage. There's also a 32 gig version as well. The wireless is 802.11 ABGN AC and then Bluetooth 4.2, and it comes preloaded with Android 8.1.0, which is of course Oreo, and then the battery is a 7,000 milliamp 27 watt hour battery. And you can see this is kind of another picture of what it looks like, but let's get an actual real view of it and open this up right now. So here's the tablet right here in this nice little plastic. Please don't choke babies, as it suggests. So this is the tablet right here. Pretty nice looking. It doesn't have a lot of weight to it. It's very thin. Nice big screen from what it looks like. We'll see once we turn it on. On the bottom we have the connection for the dock. We have a couple of speakers here. On this side we have the volume control and the power button. There is nothing along the top. I'm sorry, there's a couple of more speakers here. 2 more speakers, so that's 4 total. On this side here you have the headphone jack, USB Type-C connection, and then your SD card or SIM card slot. We'll have to see what that exactly is. If that's for a SIM card or an SD card. On the front you have your camera. You have a camera right there. And then there's, it doesn't feel like a button, so this might be a fingerprint reader. And along the back you just have your camera and flash. Alright. And I've already fingerprinted the whole thing up just by moving that around and looking at that. So let's see what else we got. So we open this up and we have the dock. This is the dock here. Let's take this out. And as you can see, this is where the tablet will dock. And we'll see here if we can just put that in there real quick. Doesn't really seem to want to snap in there. I don't know if there's anything that snaps in or if it just sits. Guess that's probably just it there. So nothing too exciting there. You also have some buttons over here. You have a Bluetooth button, your volume control, and this probably mutes the speakers. Nothing along the back. You have this this whole speaker area here. I'm sorry, on the back you do have the connection for the power. There's nothing along either side, and on the bottom you have this little lever that you can pull out, which will give it a little more stability when you have it sitting on your counter or whatever. That's it. And what's left in here is of course just instructions. USB Type-C to USB cable, and then your power cable for the dock. And that's it. So let's go ahead and get all this stuff off of here. Put all these pieces back in as best as we can for now, so we can get it out of the way. So there's the dock right there. And again, we just basically plop this guy on there, and then that's pretty much how it goes. Now we can pull this out, give it a little more stability, like I said, and then that just sits right in there. I'm not sure if this is charged yet, but we can turn it on and see what we got. There we go. Alright, so that is basically it as far as just unpacking it and what it looks like. Not too much to it. Looks pretty straightforward. What we're going to do at this point is hook it up, get it configured, and play with it for few days, a week or two, and see how much we like it. And then we'll be back after the break here. Alright, so we spent some time with the P10 here. So let's talk a little bit about what we thought about it. I really, this is a pretty good tablet, actually. It does have some negatives, so let's go ahead and jump into what we do like about it. It's got a very good look to it. It's light. It's well put together. It's got glass, of course, on the front and on the back, so it gives it a really premium kind of feel to it. There's just some plastic on the sides here. That's the only part of it that isn't glass. It's got really good performance. We didn't have any problems, running anything on it. My kids, of course, took it over and they put all their games on it that they like to play. So, Roblox, Hello Neighbor, Fortnite. They had no problems playing any of those on here. Certainly spent lots of time taking it over, like I said, and playing it till the battery died. The screen is really nice. There's a hefty bezel all around it, but other than that, the screen itself is bright. It's very colorful, performed very well, didn't have any problems with that. And we did discover that this on the side is actually, the one that we have here is just for an SD card. Now you can get it so that you can put a SIM in there as well, a SIM card in there as well, but the one that we have is just for an SD card. Okay, so what didn't I like about this? Well, I had some problems with the Wi-Fi on this specifically. Specifically with the 5G channel. As most people do nowadays, you have the dual channel routers, the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz. For whatever reason, this had a really hard time initially getting connected to that 5G channel, and not holding that connection, and it dropped a lot. Especially when I was trying to download anything or play any games or anything like that. It seems to have calmed down quite a bit since then, so for whatever reason now it seems to be working a little bit better, but it still does drop from time to time. Even if I'm right next to the router, it still does seem to have problems with that. I have other devices down here where I do my videos and stuff, and they have no problems at all connecting, so it shouldn't be an issue of distance or anything like that. It's just, for some reason, it had a lot of problems with that. Now, I had mentioned earlier that it's got this real premium feel to it because you got the glass on the front and the back. That also kind of makes me a little nervous as well. It's also kind of on my cons list as well, just because with my kids, I want to put a case on this because I'm terrified of them dropping it somewhere and just this back just shattering. But of course, if you do put a case on this, you're not going to be able to put it into the dock. I mean, there's just absolutely no room at all for that. So if you do put a case on it, you'll have to take it off every time. So I'm not particularly thrilled about that. But it is, it's catch-22. It looks really nice, but it also seems to me to make it a little more fragile than your normal tablets. The other thing is quite a disappointment for me is the speakers on this. You got 2 speakers on top and 2 speakers on the bottom, and for me they just really didn't perform very well. You could do some tweaks here and there that made it sound a little bit better depending on what you're doing, listening to music or watching movies, but really it didn't seem to really produce the sound that I was expecting from something that had 4 speakers on it. So I was a little disappointed in the speakers themselves, but really, those are the only things that I had a big problem with as far as this tablet went. Okay, so now let's talk about the base. So the base, it's pretty standard. There's nothing really too exciting about the base. It's just a base, but everything seemed to work fairly well. The speakers were fantastic. Now, I talked about how the speakers on the tablet were a little bit of a disappointment. That is completely opposite with the base here. When I was watching movies or playing music, it sounded amazing. Certainly, I was watching Avengers: Infinity War on Netflix for a little bit, and it was just phenomenal. I loved the way it sounded. Now, certainly it's not going to compare to, a 6-channel speaker setup or anything like that, but compared to the speakers that were on this tablet, this was 100 times better, and I really enjoyed listening to stuff on this base versus just the tablet itself, or any other speakers that I had laying around here. So this definitely was a good upgrade as far as that went. The buttons all worked fine. There's really nothing else on here. I mean, this base, this little thing that pops out, if I can get it out, there you go, helps definitely stabilize it very good. So that's, you know, a nice addition. Good thinking on their part. The Bluetooth, I seem to have some problems with it. Occasionally the Bluetooth would just cut out and it'd have to reconnect. You really wouldn't notice, except for the fact that there would be a message that would come onto the tablet screen saying that Bluetooth was reconnecting. Don't remove it from the base. It seemed to do it just randomly. It hasn't done it quite as much as when I first got it, so maybe it's another one of those things where it just needed to settle down. I don't know, but it definitely was a problem initially. The first few days when I had it, it definitely was a little bit annoying. The other thing that does kind of drive me nuts with the base is that nothing really locks in here. There's nothing that's keeping it secured in here at all. So if you bump it this way, it's gonna go over. And see, just like that, if you don't put it in there quite right, it's gonna, you know, you're gonna be doing a drop test on it. And since there's not a really big ledge here, you know, when you put it on here, it just kind of gives a lot of wiggle when you're pushing on it. That probably isn't going to bother too many people, but certainly for me, it's something that kind of drives me nuts, not only with this, but with some touchscreen laptops that have a lot of give. I just not real comfortable punching on the screen, certainly not typing on the screen. It drives me nuts when it's wobbling all over the place. So that's something that I really wasn't impressed with either, but I don't think you're really going to be doing a ton of typing or anything like that while you have it on the base. It's primarily supposed to be, you know, you talking to it through Alexa and navigating that way, I suppose. So maybe I'm overthinking it a bit, but that's it. That's really my main thoughts as far as the tablet and the base go. Okay, so there we go. That is the Lenovo SmartTab P10. Overall, I thought this was a really nice, really cool tablet. I don't think it really stands out from other tablets too much. Like I said, it's got a nice premium feel to it, which, you know, has got its cons as far as, you know, how, you know, fragile it is and everything like that. But it runs very well. It's got a nice screen. It's got a nice weight to it. It's easy to hold on to for a long time. It does have the 4 speakers, even though I think they should have been a little more performance as far as those go. The cameras are fine. I mean, they're nothing spectacular, but you usually are not going to expect that out of a tablet. If you're looking for high camera quality, you're looking more into your phones and stuff like that. But overall, you know, it worked very well. Putting it on the having the base included and putting it on the base is a neat little, I don't know, bell and whistle, whatever you want to call it. It's something that you can't do with every tablet, so being able to do that with this guy is something that gives it a little edge over some of the other tablets. So it's something kind of cool if you know, if you're big into Alexa and you like these kind of things, then it definitely is a cool little 2-in-1 you could kind of do, you know, 2 birds with 1 stone if you're thinking that way. But other than that, I mean, you know, it does what it says. It works very well. There's a few nitpicky things that I had on it, but overall, I thought it was a very good device and worth checking out if this is something that you're looking at and seems like something that would add well to your ecosystem there. So that's about it. Thanks for joining us here at HyperDog Digital. Hey, this is Scott for HyperDog Digital. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos and reviews, be sure to check us out at hyperdogdigital.com. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you know when we put up new content. If there's something you'd like us to review or you have a product you want to send us for a review, feel free to send us an email at reviews@hyperdogdigital.com. We're also looking for sponsors right now, so if you are interested in being a sponsor for our channel, contact us at sponsor@hyperdogdigital.com. All of our social media links and emails are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you next time.